Okay, everyone, we are live stream. Apologize for the delay. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting of the Jamestown Local Development Corporation to order. Today is Wednesday, December 16th, 2020, and it's currently 5:05 p.m. Stephanie, could you please call the roll for us?
Sure. Our president, Edward Sundquist.
Here.
Tony Dulce. Not.
I believe he'll be coming a little bit later.
Okay. Kim Eklund.
Here.
Tom Nelson.
Here.
Vicki McGraw. Absent. Christopher Selstrom.
Here.
Timothy Smeal.
Here.
Pete Shira. Absent. Peggy Kaltenmeyer.
Here.
Okay, great. And we're expecting Tony momentarily. Okay.
Fantastic. So we have the minutes from the last meeting. Did those get circulated?
They did, yes.
Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the November 18th meeting?
So move.
So
I
moved by
have
Kim.
one question about it. I'm looking at it and maybe it's me, but I see February 18th at the top and then it says November 18th and not a big deal, but probably just a typo, but.
One correction to the date. It looks like the top of, you're right, Tom.
But not a major problem.
Okay. You want to second it, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. So with one correction to the date, all those in favor?
I
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Minutes have been approved. The next item we have for the agenda is the continuation of interest-only payments for current loans through June 30th, 2021. Stephanie or John, do you guys want to talk to us about that?
Sure. This is just a continuing discussion we've been having, since the COVID pandemic started. We are on interest-only payments. We only have one hardship, and that would be the IoT, International Ordnance Technologies. And they were granted a hardship until the beginning of the year. So we would expect what would be a full payment from them in January 2021. But now we are asking for interest-only payments through June of 2021. John, do you have anything to add regarding the interest-only payments?
No, just that they're all businesses are under stress right now, and this is a way to relieve them a little bit of the stress, but we still need to make our money in the meantime.
So it's staff's recommendation that we continue the interest-only payments on all loans till June 30th, 2021?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So it sounds like there's a resolution to continue interest-only payments for current loans through June 30th, 2021. Do we have a motion?
so moved.
So moved by Tom, second
Good.
by Tim Smeal. Any discussion?
Okay.
Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right, that motion is carried. On to the next one. It's a continuation of a hardship waiver for current loans through June 30th, 2021. Stephanie or John, do either of you want to talk to us about that?
Like as I just said, we only have that one hardship waiver, and that would be a big help for them if we could extend that to June 31st. I'm sorry, June 30th, 2021.
That is the International Ordnance Tech.
Correct.
So this is a resolution to continue the hardship waiver for International Ordnance Tech, Inc. to June 30th, 2021.
Right.
Okay.
That's our recommendation.
Is there a motion?
Have they provided, have they requested that?
I have not spoken with them personally about this, so if they had, it may have been with Crystal. But they have provided all of the necessary financials to make us come to that conclusion in the first place. This is a company that They really push and struggle on the good times. So I know that this is something that they would need.
What are they're not currently paying now
Right.
until when?
Well, they're supposed to start their payment on January 30th.
And that would be just only on January 30th.
And it would be interest only, correct?
So we're not even requesting the interest from them.
Right.
Waiver. Are we still accruing interest, or are we ignoring that interest value?
We're ignoring the interest value. We could change it to accrue it down the line if you would like that.
I think it's fine the way it is. I was just curious.
Any other discussion? All right, we'll see if there is a motion.
So moved.
So moved by Kim. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Tom. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right, that motion is carried. The fourth item we have on the agenda is the discussion of assessment of late fees for outstanding loan payments. Stephanie or John?
Or I can start there. When we do our loan closing, all clients do sign a statement saying that they are aware that we will start charging fees if they are 30 days late. Since I've been here for 6 years, we really have not had that as an issue. I've been able, typically what happens is someone will miss a payment, I call them. Maybe it was, just an oversight on their part. So we don't typically give them a late fee or just that first payment of 30 days. If they go into a second month, that's when we could start with a 30-day late fee. However, we're now talking because we are seeing some late payments come in that, the new, or what we're proposing to do as a procedure would be the first instance when they are late, I reach out to them personally. The second month, if we don't get something on that second payment due date, then John, our finance manager, would send out a letter. Again, not taking that late fee because, we are in this situation of the shutdowns and still the lingering pandemic. So it would be only after 90 days that we would be accepting a late fee. The late fee is 1.5% of their current loan balance.
Stephanie, is that in the loan documents as it stands now?
After 30 days, yes, they would get a 1.5% fee. And I believe that, I think I said balance and that was wrong. It would be on their payment in general.
Is that principal and interest? Is that what the
Yes.
late fee is? 1.5% of the principal and interest payment?
Right.
Yeah.
And so what are you asking us for? Do you want us to
Well, I just
enforce the
want to
late payment?
Yeah, we just want to clarify that rather than do it after 30 days, that we actually stretch it out to 90 days. Making every attempt ourselves to try to receive payment from them. So, like I said, typically it is just an oversight, and that's corrected with a phone call. But we are seeing at least one of our clients miss 2 payments in a row. So a letter has gone out to them stating that, that if we do not receive payment by the third payment due date, they would get hit with a fee.
So is this a temporary change, or is this asking for permanent change?
Well, I guess that's what I'd like to discuss here. But it sounds kind of reasonable to me, but I haven't been doing this as long as you all have. Is this something that we would want to change permanently in our loan structure to make it a 90-day rather than a 30-day, or do we want to stick, with most banking institutions who would just give a 30-day.
Yeah, the longer you wait, the more risk you have for further missed payment.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. I would keep it the 30.
Okay. Would you make any allowances for, at least until June 30th through this pandemic situation?
They're only paying interest payments right now. So is the one
Right.
that's not even able to pay their interest payments? And if so, why haven't they applied for the hardship waiver?
Okay. Well, and that's something we can address with them when we call.
Will also be talked about in a little more detail in executive session
Mm-hmm.
on the loan itself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if there is a need for us to make that change if you're already going through that process. I mean, most standard financial institutions and lenders have a 30-day clause, whether they enact it or not, or choose to take that late payment or waive that late payment.
Mm-hmm.
I think it puts us in a bad position to extend it out 90 days on all future loans or on this one, when our standard process has always been the 30 days,
Okay.
especially if we aren't even collecting a late fee
Mhm.
at the first 30 days, right? I think that needs to be there to let folks know that if you haven't paid, we have the option of taking that late fee,
Mhm.
even though we'll work with you in any way that we can. I go and make a mortgage payment and I'm 1 day late. The bank has no problem adding a 4 or 5% fee to the back end of the loan, or even right then and there.
Mhm.
There are obviously some allowances for that, but I'm not sure that waiver is, unless it's being asked for right now, I'm not sure we need to be proactive and say, well, let's just waive late fees.
Okay. So basically up to the staff's discretion.
I mean,
Well-
I'd say if you call them and they commit and pay you, and within a couple of days of that 30-day period, you could attribute that to postage even. Like
Mhm.
if they're 30 days into the next period before they pay, then that's late.
Mhm.
I think I'm of the opinion that staff would have some leeway within a couple of days of the deadline. A couple of weeks is probably more clear that it's late.
Are you asking to change the language from 30 to 90?
That's
Or
what
30?
That's what I had considered, changing the language from 30 to 90, but in a temporary through this pandemic.
I think Chris had a good point with respect to the option of the hardship waiver. So somebody's really making sure that on the 30-day call that they know about that,
Mhm.
maybe reminding them of that if they're in trouble. I feel a little better about that rather than waiting 60 or 90 days.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense, to offer them a hardship, which I think would be better. I mean, it would just extend their loan terms.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't sound like there's any action needed
No.
from us unless someone else wants to make a motion to go forward with that. Or Ben, did you have something to add? Ben, did you have anything to add?
I was just going to say, I think relying on the hardship waiver is probably the way to go instead of just giving a blanket 90 days. Because in order to get the hardship waiver, they kind of have to open up their books a bit.
Yeah.
So we're still giving them a chance to kind of seek some sort of relief, but we're not as left in the dark through the hardship waiver process as we would be if we're just kind of extending it out 90 days.
Okay, good point.
Thank you. I couldn't tell if you actually wanted to speak or you're trying to wave off your cat. I
Oh,
wasn't.
no.
I wasn't
And
quite
then
sure
as soon
there.
as I raised my hand, my insulin pump beeped at me. So
Okay. It's fun to see animals on the Zoom calls just pop in, right? All right. Any further discussion on the late fees? Okay. The fifth item for discussion was a continuation of the JLDC loan program review. So we'll kick that off with Stephanie or John. Is there any other changes you want to talk to us about before we start our discussion?
Well, I would just really encourage anyone who has something to add or want to talk this over with me to, please reach out. I've had one member contact me. And we have been working with Greg Noon, excuse me, for some advice from the banking institution. And that's where we got a lot of our terms and conditions from him, from what they do with their loans. So I've been going back and forth with Chris, because he did, read this over and had some good points. And we discussed what we thought would work and what we maybe wouldn't. So I would just encourage anyone who, has a time and is interested in participating and letting me know what they think, to please do so. I really, really value it. I know one thing I took from Chris was the participation of the JLDC loan. We had considered only asking the applicant to provide a 10 to 25% cash injection. And when we looked at it, really, a loan of $15,000, 50% of that loan, which is what Chris had suggested, is only $7,500. And so we want these loans to be incredibly flexible for all kinds of reasons. But my thought is, if you're starting up a business and you don't have the 50% of even the loan that you're looking for, in additional funding, then you probably will not be able to make it. And something that Chris and I talked about, through emails, was the importance of this loan program for the startup is really about educating and handholding and monitoring the work of the new applicant and the new business owner. There's a lot of work to do up front before you come in and take the loan, or even request a loan, excuse me. And something that Crystal and I thought about, when people come in and present their loan, their business plan, everyone has a really good idea of what they want, but what they don't have a really firm grasp on is something like a cash flow, a 12-month cash flow, a 3-year cash flow, their balance sheet. They really don't have a firm understanding of that. And I want to see more education on that part. Working with a small business development center out at JCC would really help us do that. And we do have a relationship with them, and we are in talks to do just this. As Chris pointed out, a lot of the failures in these small business loans come from people who just don't have a clue how much it's going to cost to be in business. So there's a lot of front loading in this loan program. And that is on behalf of me, from who we've talked about either hiring or contracting on for a small business mentor, and also the Small Business Development Center. So I think using that kind of model of education first, front loading, we'll be able to be a lot more successful. It's not going to be, here is your check and off you go. We're going to be very active in this type of business loan. So does anyone have any input on this? Did anyone have any time to read or questions, interest? I know I didn't send it out this last time, but for our startup, what we're looking at is a $10,000 to $15,000 loan. And this could be for anything. And we've had people clients who actually opened a restaurant, but really all they needed was a $13,000 loan for the POS system. So they were able to take that from us, and we provided a little extra capital for them. So, and that was, that's just an example of someone who needed just a little extra, and also just to free up their cash when they go in. And that was very useful. Not every loan is going to be it's not going to be a $15,000 loan for the whole business. That's not really the intent of this. It's to help and assist.
I'll jump in and just say I like the development of these. I think that they continue to get better as we get feedback. One of the things to consider, one of the things to think about, actually, Crystal and I had a discussion on that, would be if we do move forward with these new loan programs, of which I think having some more flexibility would be good.
Mhm.
We may want to consider putting a cap on how much can be taken out of this loan fund, and just to see how it works for a few businesses to just ensure that we're not completely depleting the fund.
Mhm.
And so I think that's a great, it's something to think about for staff and to kind of go through that process. But it seems like they're pretty flexible terms, and they're meant to encourage more business, more development. And they do seem more in line with what a lot of cities have moved towards in order to encourage more downtown and local development. So I appreciate all the work that you guys have done. Is there other discussion from members?
I think you're on the right track. It sounds good to me.
Wondering, Peggy, as a probably looking around, I think you probably have the most experience most recently with private sector, and you're, obviously talking to other business people. Does this seem like it's on track with respect to the availability range for loan amount and other details? Does it seem to track right for you?
I do like the level with which it's at. I mean, I would have loved a loan program like this about 7 years ago for some things that I wanted to get done. I think that I was going to write you an email, Stephanie. I think that having a mentor program would be ideal. Like, I would love to help, or just be, an ear that somebody could maybe bounce ideas off of, or try to get an idea of what I went through. I mean, nobody's really ever asked me to do that before, but I would love to take part in that.
That's fantastic.
So that maybe people don't make more of an ease, knowing that there's also maybe other businesses within that field that, have been there, done that, and can maybe, agree to lead them in their journey as well. Like, I think that make this program better.
Right, and we're kind of losing you here, but I know I do have the gist of what you're saying, and it's with that kind of spirit of collaboration between entrepreneurs and small business owners that this program, this idea even came about. So yeah, I appreciate that. I think that's fantastic. Chris, I know you had mentioned that a lot of the not so successful businesses, some that have actually failed, are just a result of not understanding what it is to be in business. A lot of talent, a lot of skill and gifts out there, but we just need that little extra push, and that guidance. Peggy would be so helpful. So I appreciate that.
All right, Stephanie, do you want to give us a deadline and when you want any further comments? It looks like we're getting closer to getting this squared away.
Yeah, and I like that idea too. Deadline for comments. I would say we have our next meeting the third week in January. So just a week before the week before our January meeting, and then I can put something together and have it ready for January. And I'm just looking at my calendar now. So it's looking like January 13th would be the deadline for comment.
Okay.
Stephanie, what I would suggest is send an email out to everybody else who's not in attendance, just to remind everybody to get those in by that date.
Good idea. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. We're getting closer. I love it. Any further discussion on the loan program? All right. So I have one item for executive session that involves pending litigation. Are there any other executive session items from staff? or members? No? Okay. Is there any other business for this board? All right. So could I have a motion to go into executive session for the pending litigation with no action to be taken?
So moved.
Don't move.
So moved by Kim, second by Tony. Did I see your hand raised? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We are now in executive session. Give me a couple minutes just to stop the recording. Is there any staff members that need to stay on? I think Crystal.
Yeah, probably myself, Ben, Stephanie. Ryan, you can go if you'd like to.
I think Ryan's a member of the board.
Oh, yeah, so no, you can't.
Can't get rid of him.
You're staying.
Okay, sounds good.
Do you want me to go?